Hi guys, this is Alfred again, coming up today with another brand new video, trying to share some high level good information about cryptocurrencies. As I was sharing in my previous video, which was titled Things You Should Know Before Getting into Cryptocurrencies Market. I just want to share today additional information, high level information about the things you should know before getting into investing in cryptocurrencies market. As a disclaimer, I just want to let you know that I'm not a financial advisor, and this is only for information sharing purposes. So, with that being said, let's me dive into the subject. So the other thing you should know before going to the market is what is called crypto transactions. So there is many transactions that you can do on the exchanges on the crypto market. So when you buy cryptocurrencies, it's a type of transaction that you are doing. And when you turn around, you sell the cryptocurrencies, this is another type of transactions. And other things is when you exchange cryptocurrencies or when you receive cryptocurrencies from somebody, those are type of transaction that also are happening on the exchange. And you have to be aware that every transactions that's happening on the exchange, there is a fee attached to every transaction. So don't be surprised when you see transaction fees. So the next thing also you should be knowing is what we call take a profit. Take a profit. So why you should take a profit? You have to take a profit because when you invest in, even in the traditional market, when you invest money somewhere, you expect that money to grow so you can get some gain. So this is the same thing here over the cryptocurrencies market. For example, when you buy a Bitcoin at $1,000, and then few months later, your Bitcoin gains some value and become $2,000. So you have on top of your 1,000 another 1,000. So you can decide to take some profit. You might decide to take the whole profit, meaning that the 1,000 that you have gained. And then how you take that? You take a profit simply by selling a portion of your crypto. In this case, you sell a portion of your crypto, which is $1,000. So this is the gain that you have. You can sell the whole 1,000 and then take it out. But remember, every time you make a transaction, there are always some fees attached to that. And then you have to remember also the taxes. So when you take in the profit, the gain that you have to account for the taxes also. For the case of US, taxes are 23%, 23 something percent of the capital gain. So you have to keep that into your mind before taking a profit. So when you take a profit, so where the money goes? So when you sell the crypto, the money should go back to your fiat account on the exchange. And then from your fiat account, for example, if your fiat is US dollars, you can take that money from your US dollars and then put that back into your bank account. You put that back into your bank account. This is how you take a profit on the exchange. And then one thing that's also very important about taking a profit is you have to have some kind of strategy when it's come to take a profit. So you don't need to be kind of just blinded. So when something happened and then you have to start thinking about what to do, you have to have your own strategy about how you can take a profit. If you have to take the whole gain as a profit, or if you just have to take a portion of that, and then so you can buy more of the Bitcoin of the currency that you have that is performing well for you. So it's your own decision. So but you have to come up with some type of strategy of how to take a profit. So the other thing you should know is how to convert a crypto, how to convert a cryptocurrencies. Sometimes when you try to buy some type of crypto or you heard about one crypto, and after you did your own investigation and found out that that crypto that you want to buy is legit, and then you have to find the exchange where you can buy that crypto. At some time, that crypto can be somewhere that the coin that you have or the fiat money that you have cannot buy that crypto. So you have to turn your coin into other coin before you can buy that crypto. So luckily we have exchanges now that offers that kind of transaction you can do. You can exchange, for example, a Bitcoin to another coin, to Dogecoin, or you can exchange that coin to different other coins. And then the coin that you need to buy other coins, you can get it. And then at that point, you can buy the coins that you want to buy. So this is how you can convert one crypto to another crypto. So the other things you also need to be aware of is how to send crypto to friend and family. How to send crypto to friend and family. So, for example, if you want to give some type of gift to somebody, some friend or family member, you can send that gift in crypto. So the only thing the other part had to know or had to have is to create a crypto account as well. So if you know the address of the destination, you can plug that address of the destination into your transaction feed, and then you can send that crypto to the other person, which might be in the other country or somewhere, far away from you. But remember, you can only send crypto to like crypto. You can only send crypto to like crypto. What I mean by that is if I want to send Bitcoin to somebody, that person has to have a Bitcoin address as well. You cannot send Bitcoin to Dogecoin address. If you do that way, you're gonna lose your money. So you have to be very, very careful. So when you send in coin to somebody, it has to be coin like coin. So Bitcoin can only be sent to another Bitcoin address. Ethereum can only be sent to Ethereum account. Dogecoin can only be sent to another Dogecoin account somewhere else. So you have to be careful when you are trying to send a coin to somebody else somewhere. Because if you mix sending that to the proper account, then you can lose your money very quickly. And yes, your money will be gone forever. So the other thing you should be aware of as well is what are the crypto risks out there? Are there any risks attached to crypto transactions? Yes, of course. There is a risk attached to anything that talk about money. That's why you have to be very, very careful when you transiting or transacting into crypto or anything that relate to money. So there's so much risk out there. Just make sure everything you do, you're doing securely, and then you're doing it also quickly when you are on the exchange. And then do not let your account open while you're going somewhere and come back. Make sure every time you log in, you have to log out as well. So the other thing you should know is what is called crypto addresses. What is crypto addresses? So crypto addresses is like a string of character. It's a string of character. They are like random numbers that is represent the key of your crypto. For example, if you buy a crypto on an exchange, the exchange will give you a key for that crypto. And then that key is saved on the exchange in some type of location, and you are the only one who has a key to that location. In this case, on the exchange, the key to that location is your username and password to log into that exchange, and then you can get access to that key on the exchange. That is what we call addresses or keys. It's very, very important to keep your addresses or keys very, very secure, because if somebody gets access to your accounts on the exchange, for example, they can easily steal your key, which means they can steal your money and your money will be gone forever. So you have to be careful. Everything you do on the exchange, you have to be careful about that, because it's your money. Remember, it's your money. It's your hard saving money. So you can lose it if you don't pay attention. So the other thing you have to know is what is called crypto wallet. What is a crypto wallet? So what is wallet? If we can compare crypto wallet to the wallet that we use, for example, if you have your own wallet that you put in your pocket and then you travel with that all the time, your wallet contains your credit card, your bank card, your ID card, and so many cards that is in your wallet. It's the same thing for crypto wallet. So crypto wallet is kind of the location or the container of your crypto keys. So the wallet contains all your keys. And then this wallet is password protected. So you are the only one who has access to this wallet. That's why when you got this wallet, your password that you put out there had to be strong enough so human brain cannot detect that. Very, very important. So we have different type of wallet. I think you can dig into that a little bit and find out what are the wallet out there that you can use. But by default, when you buy crypto on an exchange, the exchange you create a wallet for you on the exchange and save your keys into that wallet on the exchange for you. So if you make a decision to take your keys out of the exchange, then you can move them to a different location. You can even take them with you at home, by putting them in different wallets, and you can take that at home. There is a different type of wallet. There's some wallets that are mobile wallet, meaning that you can create those wallets on your mobile device and you can save your crypto that way. Or you can also have some type of wallet that you can install on your computer, on your desktop, and you can save your crypto there. Just remember the password that will be very, very strong. Or you can also move your crypto from the exchange to something they called cold wallet. Cold wallet. So cold wallet, those are some type of hardware. Some of them, they look like USB keys that you can also buy. And those wallets, they have some software that they use. They have some type of encryption, so people cannot, access that easily. And why they call them cold wallets? They call them cold wallets because those wallets are not connected to the internet. So once you move your crypto from the exchange and you put that into those wallets, that means nobody can have access to that because it's not connected to the internet. Nobody will have access to that. And then when you need to transact through that wallet, you have to plug that back to the internet using your password, secure password, and you can transact that way. But remember, for this wallet, if you lose your password to this wallet, that means you lose your money too. So you have to be careful. I know that today there is some companies producing this type of wallet. They allow you to print your keys on the hard paper, and you can save them somewhere in a very secure safe. You can do it that way. But the thing you have to remember is for any type of wallet, the password that you put out there, you have to remember that, because if you lose them, then you lose your money. The only way, or the only easy way you can find your keys if you forget your username and password, is the only situation where your keys still residing on the exchange. Because if you lose your password on the exchange, you can recover your password on the exchange. But beside that, you have to be careful. If you lose your password for the cold storage, cold wallet, your money is gone. So you have to be careful. The other thing you have to know also is, what is a stable coin? You heard about that also when you go to the crypto exchanges. What is a stable coin? A stable coin is the coin that don't have too much volatility, like Bitcoin or some other coins. A stable coin is a coin that is kind of stable, like the name indicates that. The coin is kind of stable. So those coins, for example, if you are using fiat US money, if you have one coin that is a stable coin, its value can be equal to $1. So the stable coin is like a one-to-one value to the fiat currency. So a stable coin is one way to transact, to send money to a friend without high volatility. So using a stable coin to make a transfer of money is one secure way, because you can expect that there will not be a volatility or too much volatility. So when you send $100, by the time you get there, it's going to turn to like a 70 if there's so much volatility. With the stable coin, it's not going to happen. It might change maybe like a 1 cent or 2 cents, but it's not going to change much. So stable coin are a good way to do some type of cross-border transaction like that. So the other thing, not the least, you should know is how to create a secure password. How to create a secure password. So what that means, creating a secure password is very key for your cryptos. Remember, your cryptos are your money. They are like your bank account. So if you have your bank account, are you going to let somebody else get into your bank account? Or are you going to let that open so anybody can get there? I think no. So you have to make sure you know how to create a secure password. Often in the corporate areas, people use days and months, a combination of days and months to create a password, which is very, very weak. So you don't want to do that. You have to come up with something very strong. But remember, you have to remember that password as well. So creating a secure password is to come up with a password that is strong enough so the women brain cannot detect that or imagine that. So after you create that password, and then when you put that password into the system, there's something called 2FA authentication, two-factor authentication. What that means? That means, remember, when you log into a website, and then the website, when you put your username and password, the website is trying to make sure that you are the one who is trying to access the site, that you are the authorized the person to be there at the site. So they send you some type of code on your phone. It just depends how you set it up. And then when you receive that code, you introduce that code into the system. So the system will verify you the second time to make sure it's you before the system can grant you access to that area or to that network. So that's what is called the two-factor authentication. So you can do that with a code sent to your phone, or you can set it up with something we call the Google Authenticators. And there is other way you can secure your account. There is a three-factor, you can go that way, or there is a four factors that you can do. But with two-factor is already good for you to secure your account. So the other things you should be aware of is what is called the address whitelisting. Address whitelisting. Address whitelisting is a new feature that exchanging applying to the crypto keys. It's another security measure that exchanges are coming up with to allow we as the crypto owners to secure our keys. How that works is if you whitelist your crypto, if even somebody penetrates into your account, they cannot steal easily that money from there, because once the account or the crypto is whitelisted, it can only be sent to another crypto that is whitelisted with the same keys. You understand? That means, for example, if you are using two different exchanges and you whitelisted your account from one exchange, it can only be sent to the other account in the other exchange that has the same type of whitelisting feature. So this is a way to not allow the hackers or people who try to steal your money to get into your money easily. So this is another thing you have to get into a little bit to understand how you can set it up. It's not difficult to set it up. You can also set it up. So the other thing, not the least, you should know is what is called mining. You're probably gonna heard that. Mining. So what is called mining? So mining is nothing than the reward that is given to the machines that kind of confirm, or the machine that are confirming crypto transactions. So in the term mining, you can take out the miner. So those miners, they are kind of a computer system. So those computers, they utilize a very dedicated special chips that can allow them to produce the cryptocurrencies. So every time there is a transaction sent to the crypto network or to the blockchain, there is a competition between different computers with high power all around the world to solve very difficult mathematical problems. So while solving these problems and using computer power, using electricity, that's what we call mining. So that different process of mining, which is validating those transactions, that is what we call mining. And then the result of the mining is the new coin that is produced, and then that is added to the blockchain. So this is where, when you hear about people say they want to mine Bitcoin, they want to mine Dogecoin and all those, it's just setting up a computer that is validating crypto network transactions. And the profit they are gaining is the reward. So, yeah, so this is all that I have to add today. And I think you can find great information in this show as well. So without giving too much today, I just want to thank you again for your time, and thank you for listening to me. And I will come up with the third part of this tutorial, things to know before getting into cryptocurrency market. And I hope you will enjoy that as well. Thank you for watching.